Hey everyone, it is Saturday, January 20th, 2018, and it's time to go to work on music. It's been an excellent day. I'm in a really good place and excited for a productive session as usual. Going to hit some online classes here, update you guys with what's going on that front. Gonna hit a quick guitar practice, share my progress as I generally do. Going to dive into the production front and possibly track some of the pre chorus stuff for the first tune from my new record that's hopefully going to be done relatively soon. And I'm not sure how I'm feeling today as far as drum work goes, but I'll see where I'm at in a few minutes. And then going to listen back to some of the sort of guitar sketches I did on the next song for the album, and make a judgment call about where I want to go stylistically with that, and then going to work on the vocals for the new tune, which are probably the biggest priority right now as far as tracking goes. So I will update you guys in a few with what I accomplish. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions as we go, and I'll see you guys in a few.
Slipping deeper into darkness. Somehow, it's all I ever wanted.
Okay, excellent session overall. Was on the shorter side, but just made use of the time that I did have and got into the online class front, doing some review, realizing that I think I left off the worksheets in the class with the building a biography section, so I'm just going to check in with that worksheet and just do some practice writing. Maybe the bio materials I have up right now are good enough. Maybe I can improve them. I'm not sure. I'll just sort of roll with that. And I think this is stuff I'm just going to keep cycling through over and over and over and over again with every release and every album, so it's going to become very familiar soon enough, I'm sure. But it's always helpful to have a checklist. You never know when you're going to miss something important or some little detail, and a lot of times the details matter. So that was great, and then I got into a good guitar practice. I'm really enjoying my guitar practices these days. I'm just working on note name memorization using scales, so I'm keeping my practice very musical, which is a lot of fun. So I'm just improvising with a scale, but then saying the note names to myself in my head as I'm playing them. And hopefully that'll be a good way to just get in that proper brain state where learning is really maximized, and also just enjoying the process, having fun with it instead of just like forcing myself painfully to sit there and just, yeah. So I'll try some different tactics and see what the best route is there. And one day I'm gonna have the whole neck memorized, so that's important to remember. It's all good. Then I just worked more on minor pentatonic shapes. The one below my most familiar pattern's feeling pretty good right now, so I moved up, start working on the next pattern up the neck, and I'm excited. So that's like 3 out of 5 almost right there. And I'm just using a drone track on YouTube. It's like a cello drone, which is really awesome because cello was my first instrument, I think. Maybe like recorder or something, or like some hand drum my dad got me, something like that. But like it was my first time I really, sat down and focused. And I've always loved the sound of the cello so much, and those drones in fifths, I think, is what the recording is. And boy, it just sounds, it's really a beautiful space to reside in sonically when you're improvising over it. So that's really fun, and keeps things open rhythmically and harmonically, which is great. And then I took a short break, did some reading from the Recording Secrets book, was reading about Bob Clearmountain using Grot boxes, which are just like a pair of crappy commercial cheap speakers, like computer speakers or something, that you set up in like a really crappy way, either outside your control room or inside your control room, just to get an idea of how it's going to sound in a more real world type of situation, because most listeners aren't going to have the quality of speaker that you're going to be mixing on. So that's important to remember, right? It's like you're not just mixing for people who are audiophiles, you're mixing for a lot of different people. So Maybe as I get to know my audience better, I'll have a better idea of how the mixes should sound. But yeah, it's interesting how different mix techniques make their way into different styles, and what becomes expected and unexpected from audiences and listeners. Through that, I found a cool interview that the author of the book pulled some quotes from, and I'm really interested in Bob Clearmountain and his style and approach, and I really like his mixing and his production, actually. Bryan Adams records. Um, but I found he did a lot of mixing on the Stones documentary that I haven't seen by Martin Scorsese, so I looked that up. I'm probably going to check that out later tonight, so I'm excited to do that some of my downtime. And then I just got into the production front, listened back to the new tune. I decided to skip over doing any drums today. I just wasn't feeling it, and time-wise, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to do that today, so that was a win. And yeah, I listened through the track and sort of was playing around with it, listened back to some of the guitar takes I did. That's sounding good. I don't know if it's worth putting a lot of time into those quite yet, because I think the sound of the drums might change that section sonically a little bit, so I might want to wait on that. I'm not totally sure, so I'm just going to let it sit for a little while, but I've got something I can reference if needed. And then I started tweaking the bridge section a little bit more. That's going well. I mean, I think it's going to take some work to really get that to be the way I want it to be, but it's getting closer, so that's really heartening, and it's got a cool vibe. It's definitely different, man. It's definitely something different. So that's hopefully going to be really great, and people are going to be like, wow, this is amazing. We'll see. I mean, the most important thing is that I'm feeling good about it and digging it, and it's something that I would be like, wow, that's fresh, you know, and tasteful, not just like weird and crappy, right? So that was good, and then I did some singing practice and actually got like a pretty good take of the first verse. I was just working on that first section of the song vocally, and it's just the power of spaced repetition, you know, working it, taking a step back, working it some more, taking a step back, working it some more, taking a step back, and then boom. You know, the mind is so powerful, and also luck of the draw, right? Some days you just got it, and it's just like, whoa, great, you know, boom. And then other days you don't, you just keep hitting it till you get it. So I'm feeling great, man. It's really just the power of showing up. That's so powerful, and yeah, some days are better than others, but you know, you just check in with yourself. You hit it hard on days you're feeling good. You do your best to go as far as you can on days you're not feeling that good. Make adjustments based on what's going on and what's clicking and what's not clicking, and just keep clawing and scratching your way forward. That's my advice, and keep showing up. You know, just keep showing up, man. Steve Vai tells this great story. I don't know if it's true or not, about talking with Frank Zappa about advice for being an independent artist, and there's some technical stuff that he shares about like keeping your publishing. But it's funny, in one iteration of the story he said, Frank told me, okay, you only need to remember two things. Number one, don't stop. And number two, keep going. And I just, it's just, it's just such a good story, and it's so Frank Zappa, you know, and so Steve Vai, and it's just like, I just want that moment to be true, even if it isn't. But I think it's great advice. You know, persistence is so powerful. Obviously, you want to be smart about it. You want to learn from your mistakes. You want to be strategic. You want to get better and more efficient. But don't underestimate the power of just straight bullheadedness. There's a time and a place for it. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions. I hope you guys are out there grinding towards your goals, enjoying the process. That's what I'm out here doing. Today was fantastic. I'm really experimenting with just like taking it a little easier on Saturdays on myself, and just like, you know, getting some work done, but also making sure I get some downtime in, and not that I'm not just killing myself to make these records. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for more. I'm really excited to dive into the week full steam, and I found that it's a lot easier and more productive for me to hit these weeks hard consecutively in a row if I do give myself a little bit of downtime and break on the weekend. And the less of that I get, the harder it is, and less enjoyable it is to just grind. So see you guys soon.